Dan Olds here. This is the last edition of the Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. It's the last one for the 2025 season, and I am joined by Patrick Porto from HPE. How you doing, Patrick?
Dan, it's a beautiful day. I'm excited to let these kids know how they finished.
I am too. I am too. Let's get to it then, right? And everybody should be able to see that. So, first thing, let's talk a little bit about the basics, right? Everybody knows this. We're going to go through it fast. Exclusively feature HBCUs and HSIs, which are Hispanic serving institutions. It's all virtual. And we have mentor organizations that do a lot in this, including they select the app, they provide the machine time, they provide the training and support. And every student team, all of them at the same time, spend a virtual week with each mentor, then they get the next week off. And Patrick, this thing has been going on 81 days.
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot of times, a lot of what I call soak time, that they get this, week long thing that they have to learn and do and optimize, then turn in, then it kind of soaks in. And I think that's good. I think it's better, in fact, than a competition that starts on Monday and ends on Wednesday type of
Well,
thing.
and Dan, this is real life. This is real life
Yeah.
HPC to the greatest extent possible. And that's what's so wonderful about this competition. So hats off to all the students for working that hard over the course of this entire 81 days.
And for sticking with it, because these aren't your trust fund kids, Patrick. They've all got jobs, multiple jobs. They've got the academics with their full loads and maybe some sort of personal life if they can fit it in. Then we jam this on top of it. Wow. So this is all on their own time. It's a big deal. So the scoring, it's all normalized. Top team gets 100%, 100 points. The teams underneath, it's normalized to their score. 700 points possible. So we ready to roll on and talk a little bit more? Here's the big new thing. Patrick, question. How many Linux courses does a student need to take to get a computer science degree these days?
0.
Yes, 0. And me, being an idiot, didn't know that. I thought for sure that you'd have to have at least some Linux experience, like a decent amount to get through, but no, it's something we really, really needed. And I'm just glad that after a lot of sifting and sorting and all of that, I found the Linux Foundation and their introductory class. It's worked. It's helped out with a lot of students. But the mentors had to help as well, because this is 60 some hours of training. Might be a little much to mix in to, a month or a few weeks before the competition starts.
And it's
So,
not light weekend reading either.
no, no, not light. It is, hundreds, if not thousands of little slides that have a couple of paragraphs on them, but they do have some hands-on exercises, which are great. But the mentors helped cut that down to
Excellent.
something I think is manageable. But the real big deal is this, the HPC stuff. Because I'm sure you've seen, there's a lot of HPC tutorial stuff out there, right? You guys even have some yourself from HPE.
Sometimes I think we publish more stuff than we have hardware to run it on. So it's good. Lots of material.
Good thing YouTube scales out. But this took, I mean, literally months to find. And it's kind of a needle that I was trying to thread with something that started at the right level and then went up to the right level, but that wasn't tied to a particular workload domain and wasn't tied to a particular system. So it had to be general, but it had to be HPC. And, um, there are a lot of little tutorials out there, and then I could have strung them all together, but I happened to find this one from Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center. One guy did it all, 16 and a half hours on this.
Got to be John Urbanek. Do you say
It,
Pittsburgh?
yeah, John,
I do. We do.
he
We do.
he did some really good stuff,
You know what?
really good.
He has some great discussions out there on HPC of the
Yes.
past, future as well. It's really informative and just a fantastic resource and a great partner for the community.
Yeah. And he mixed a lot of that in as he was going through this, which is what I thought was fantastic. He didn't talk about, okay, to use MPI, you do this, this, and this. Click. Let's go on to the next exercise. He was talking about why do you need something like MPI? Why do you need OpenMP? Why do you need something like OpenACC or CUDA? And also talking about what's coming down the road. It was just fantastic stuff. So could not be happier with that. And we have a partnership with them. And after going through all of the hurdles and paperwork and being led by the hand through it by Valerie at PSC, we're now an approved entity with access, which means students can go through me and my account and be able to do all of this stuff as he goes through it. The exercises and things are still up. So this is going to be great. And the students really, we're not going to say they enjoyed watching 16 hours of video, but they appreciated it. Almost all. I mean, nearly universal. It's been so positive that this is what's going to begin every Winter Classic from now on, this event. And then it goes on to HPE and LINPACK and HPCG. So good stuff. Time well spent, but a lot of time. What we're really trying to do here, though, is close the loop so that any school out there can come into this thing and with some motivated students who spend some time um, learning Linux if they don't know it, learning HPC, put together a team of 3 or 4 pals, enter this and be successful. And that's been the goal, the overriding goal, that you don't need to have some sort of HPC centric professor or HPC centric classes or departments or anything like that. You want to get in this, you can.
I love it. Let's meet the teams though. I'm
Let's do it.
excited to see who all I joined a couple of the group
You
interviews.
did.
Excited to see everyone that was part
Yep.
of this year.
Let's go. Here are the teams. We had 10 teams stick with it from start to finish. Now, we did have up to rumors of 15, 14 for sure. But for various reasons, they dropped out along the way. And that's okay because I'm going to take the hit for it. I started it too early. We started it on the 13th of January because I had to maneuver around MLK Day. And I went to the early side rather than the late side of it. I should have definitely gone to the late side. The schools weren't back in session after winter break.
You cannot wake them up too early on their winter break, Dan.
No. Well, you can't even get them signed up and committed to it before that. So there were a lot of teams, some teams at least, were still in the formation stages as this thing was kicking off. And certainly not enough time for them to train themselves up on the stuff that we had up there. So next year will be different. We won't be starting this early ever again. And I don't care if, the term winter becomes more and more humorous in this as we extend out into June, July, or whatever. But I'm not going to start it that early.
That's okay. We've got mentors lined up to help. So no matter how many teams you've
Yeah,
got, Dan,
you
we're
guys
here.
will be open. You don't go out on summer
They,
break.
they
Uh,
love this.
Oh, see, and that's, we'll
Love
talk
this.
about them in just a second. But take a look. We've got returning teams mostly, and these schools, HBC is catching on. Like Fayetteville, didn't you? This is the first time they sent two teams. Texas Tech has been two teams um, since 2022. Same with Channel Islands, but New Mexico has expanded. And it's great to see Santa Cruz in the competition. They've been in and out, but they're busy with other stuff too, other competitions. But UC Riverside, I made that deal in a bar at SC24.
Wow.
I was there, happened to see Elizabeth Leakey, whose name will be familiar to some people. And she said, "Oh, you got to meet this guy." Turns out to be Matthew Chung, a student. And she said, "Oh, Dan does the Winter Classic Student Cluster Competition." "Oh, what's that?" Told him about it. We closed the deal right there. Gave him a business card. Let me know. He did. They're in. And their name is going to be popping up some more. So, mentors, as you mentioned before. And what were you saying about the mentors?
We've got lots of them, and I want to actually take this moment to spend a special shout out to Elizabeth Reeve that helped coordinate all the
Yeah,
mentors from HPE. Really not an easy thing to do, and a lot of people love signing up for this, but it takes one person to really corral
it was her
everybody.
first year doing it too. And she did great. It just came off flawlessly. No problem at all.
And
Um,
I see this little name that says Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I think
you've heard of them. You got a
may
box there, I think.
we might have a small little couple of systems there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about them too. But yeah, they go all out on these things. We got AWS multi-year as well, and the new one used to be billed as the mystery vendor, the Pittsburgh Supercomputing Center. But it's been great, and the support from mentors, and it actually surprises me they do enjoy it. I thought it was going to be like kind of a drag on them, but no, they have a good time.
They do.
So
And
that's
I'll tell
great.
you right now, from our side, they plan their vacations around this. So
Are you
that tells you the
really?
impact. Yeah.
Wow. That
They get more out of it sometimes than the students do because it really does help them out. So it's a great win-win for everyone involved.
that is, I did not know it was to that extent. That's great to hear. Cool. Okay, let's drive on. Sponsors. This stuff's not free, unfortunately. We need money. Need more sponsors, but it's great. HPE, you've been the platinum sponsor since 2022. And I gotta say, right here in front of everybody, without a certain senior VP of everything at HPE named Trish Damkroger, this competition wouldn't have gotten off the ground in 2021. That was just me, one quarantined guy, doing it. And she helped a lot to make it real. So,
Tricia's story is Dan is fantastic. She started in the labs. She moved up to work for Intel,
yep.
came over to run HPC here at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and her goal is investing in this type of opportunities to help bring people into the real world of HPC. It's a fantastic thing that we do here.
And I gotta say, I'll probably be redundant and say this again, but this competition's a pretty good price performer in terms of converting students from non-HPC to HPC. I did a survey of once we got 3 years in, I did a survey of the students and asked how many of them had really heard and knew much about HPC beforehand. About 75% said, nope, didn't know I could work in it. After the competition, pretty close to the same number said they want to make their career in it. That's the goal. And
That's
to
awesome.
give them the equipment to do it. So yeah, yeah. We're also trying to get sponsors more involved in the competition. Like I don't know if you know Matt Ziegler from Lenovo.
I know he took part in this and did some
Yeah,
stuff in the studio update shows, but I have
did it.
not personally met Matt. No.
Yeah, he's their Neptune guy and sustainability, but he spent his years in the trenches in HPC, and he was good, came in great, and of course this is your third show. After I think 5 shows, you get a tie,
Yeah.
so
Sign me
you
up
can
for two
be
next year.
official. Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's gonna have to be next year, man. I should make it 5 shows in one calendar year so I can hold on to the ties. While we're on the topic of sponsors, our friend Brian Connors from Lenovo recorded a very nice message for us. I'm going to play that now.
Dear students and colleagues, I'm Brian Connors, the Vice President and General Manager of our Enterprise and AI business here at Lenovo. And I'm thrilled to introduce myself to you. We at Lenovo are absolutely delighted to sponsor the 2025 Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition. This event is a significant milestone for all of us, as it plays a crucial role in attracting diverse talent and providing real-world experience to students like you. Your participation is key to driving the future of technology. This event connects you with real supercomputers and industry-leading high-performance computing and AI experts. It's your chance to network with top industry experts and gain invaluable insights that can shape your future career. As a leading high-performance computing and AI solutions provider, Lenovo leverages the latest advances in processors, accelerators, and innovative system designs, like our Neptune direct liquid cooling. We design and deploy unique systems that support your workflows and your workloads specific to your needs and our customers. With our deep domain expertise and experience, we collaborate closely with customers to design efficient and sustainable solutions. Our solutions are applied in various fields, including drug discovery, financial modeling, and demonstrating the breadth and impact of our technology. In closing, I want to thank you for your participation and enthusiasm. Your innovative solutions will shape the future. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to Dan Olds for executing a successful Winter Classic. We look forward to seeing the incredible innovations you will create. Thank you.
That was great, Brian. Thank you so much for your support. Anyway, are we ready to go into the results?
Oh, only if task 1 is to show the Linpack scores. Then I'm ready. Let's go.
Task 1, show the Limpact scores. Let's see it. Yeah, there they are. And pretty tight.
I'll make you a deal. I'll do 5 shows next year, but you've got to rename Linpack Week the Jack Dongara Week. How does that sound?
Ooh, I like that idea. I
There's some
like
good
that
scores,
idea.
by the way. Tight scores up top.
Yeah, but well, real quick on the Jack Dongara thing, let's have you guys send him out just, an old system skin, put on the back of a truck, park it in front of his house. We'll film him hitting a champagne bottle against it to kick off his week. That would be cool. Good.
That would be awesome.
Making a
Well,
note of that. So, yes, very tight. I mean, look at that. That's, a third of a point. That's like a cosmic ray or a wind blowing thing making those runs different, and not much more difference the rest of the way down. So good job on that. It's usually top loaded, and this year's no exception. You want to see some HPCG?
let's go.
Texas Tech, again, they were, a third of a point down, quarter point in Linpack, and they topped it out. A little bit more of a lead here, but still very close. The not so slow slugs make their way in. We got 2 Channel Islands finishers up there. Roadrunners still good. And we're just showing the top 5 results because, there were some not turn-ins and things like that. And Paul's also in the interest of time. So driving on, task 3. This turned out to be me. And usually the second mentor is NASA Ames, but I screwed up in scheduling them and they couldn't do it. So I had to come up with something. And this was fun right up until it wasn't. The fun part was telling the students, hey, guess what you're doing this week? Get out the popcorn. You're watching 16 and a half hours of videos all about HPC. Enjoy that.
Those will put you to sleep really fast, won't they?
Yeah, but John Urbanic, he's the master of that. He kept me awake. I kept those running in the background while I was checking them out because they're so damn good. Anyway, so the fun part was making them eat those vegetables, right? I enjoyed that. But the only way to make sure they did it was to test them on it. But the only way to put together a test is to make one. But it couldn't be too obvious and too easy. So that means that someone has to go through and pull some stuff out in order to come up with, essay questions and short answer and multiple choice and all that kind of stuff. And did my HPC pals help me out in doing that? No, they did
Probably not.
No, no.
And you created your own, Dan, you created your own chaos because now you got to go grade all these tests when you're done, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And grade them. But then the other thing is you can't give them all weekend to do the test because then they won't watch the videos. They'll just wait until the weekend and then just try and scroll through and find exactly what they have, what the answer is. I also couldn't make the questions obvious enough that a simple web search would do it, or even AI. So it was rough to put together that. So I timed it. So the minute they started until they hit submit as a team, the clock ran, and I factored that time in there.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but it's just God. Next year, I think I'm going to have an LLM make the exam for me, at least first and second draft. But anyway, good scores, close scores on this. It's a Texas story at the top, and then New Mexico in third and fifth. You got some Fayetteville, the team that you interviewed, there in the middle. Good scores. And actually the average scores were good too. Everybody who did it did a pretty good job. Okay, driving on. This was big.
And Santa Cruz is back again.
Santa Cruz is back, but did you see that? Quantum.
Yeah. It's the first time ever, isn't it?
First time in any competition. Some have done like a quantum simulator, but this is the first time that they got to go onto, or they did an emulator, which was on Odo, which is a Frontier clone. And then they did a simulator also on Odo. And that's resume worthy right there. But then they got to use an actual quantum computer.
Wow. What a great opportunity.
And again, what student applying for a job is going to be able to say that, yeah, I did this, by the way. And this were just, 2 of the 5 supercomputers we used. So let's talk about that. Yeah, it's just incredible.
And it was on a clone of Frontier. I got to be happy to hear that.
Yeah, 32 node called Odo, clone of Frontier. Exactly the same thing. So this was really impressive. And this one, if I'd have known what they were doing and how complex it was, might have given them 2 weeks for it. I think the students would have appreciated that extra time because quantum's hard to bend your mind around, right?
It's a mind bender for quite a few of them, I can imagine. I would have stumped me. So hats off to students for their progress here.
And the leaderboard, this is the first event that the Lobos took. Really great breakthrough here. And say, look, Riverside is up there, number 2. Santa Cruz, the Texas Tech and Roadrunners have been kind of topped on this. So nice. Moving along Wharf with AWS. Doesn't seem that hard, does it?
Deceptively simple, I think, is the words I would use, Dan.
It was. The thing that AWS does is, and there's a guy over there who's been spearheading their mentor thing since 2022, Evan Bollig, and he likes to put his twists in that nothing is as simple as it seems, and there's back doors and there's workarounds that he intentionally leaves in there. And the reason this was deceptively simple, the deceptive part comes in, is that sure, you build and run Wharf, you build yourself your own HPC cluster in the cloud, but they gave you step-by-step instructions for that. Nice. Just walked them through it. It was all good. But then you had to pick what instances do you want to use? And there's something like 800 of them. What's the best one to use?
And then blow it up and make them do it again, right?
Yeah, yeah. Then it's like a simulated. I think he said in our training, a flood. Let's call it a flood. And then you had to do it all over again.
Oh.
The thing is, there's some teams approached it like a typical challenge, and they're working on optimizing Wharf, which was fine. And it got them a long ways down the road, or at least a ways down the road. Other teams were looking at different instances, which I think was the path to absolute victory in this. But what they didn't do, they didn't profile. None of them profiled on any of the apps. And that's starting to well piss me off a little bit, because we've been harping on that for like 3-4 years now, use profilers. So I might have to throw some sort of challenge in to make them actually do it. But still, good scores. Red Raiders, big score here. Santa Cruz hanging in, right? Matadors coming up a bit, and UCR and Fayetteville hanging around. It was good. This was a lot of teams said this was the toughest challenge, in fact. Even right up there with the Oak Ridge Quantum, or even harder. So figure that. Ready to move on?
I'm ready to roll.
Okay. This is the final computational challenge from our new pals at Pacific Supercomputing Center. And interesting. This was interesting. The task was to build and run a quantum espresso on the Bridges 2 system. Did you guys do that one?
That is a great question. Put me on the spot, and I don't know that.
I know. And you should. You should know everything above, let's say, 24 notes, you should have right on the tip of your tongue. But it might be, I don't know. I just threw that out there to be kind of a jerk. But the task was to set up, build, run Quantum Espresso, and then optimize it on CPU only nodes, and then on GPU plus CPU nodes, and then compare the results.
And then probably make them do that during spring break, midterms, and several other things demanding in their day, all day, every day, right?
You got it exactly right. And this is when you start to see, right around here in AWS, you start to see the fall off as, again, spring breaks and finals weeks or midterms, students getting dragged out of town by their stupid parents to like go to Cancun, things like that. And I should tell them, beginning of the competition, make sure wherever you go, you've got good connectivity. That's a good idea. but it's a really tough time. But again, it's real life, right?
It happens. But the Red Raiders persevered, right?
Yeah. They've been persevering pretty hard in these leaderboards so far. Santa Cruz has made a move from um like fourth or fifth, and this is a pattern with Santa Cruz. They come out of nowhere towards the end. Texas Tech moved up quite a bit too. Team Bronco 1, who you were the interview on,
Yes.
doing well, and Channel Islands sticking there in the top 5. So all we have left is the interview, which is 100 points. So far, we've ladled out 600 points. Take a look at that. That 582 out of 600, it's a pretty
Still
good
anyone's
score.
game. Still anyone's game.
Yes, there are some things that happen in the interviews. Let's take a little closer look at what we've got. Interview is worth exactly the same as every other module. And what I do is I gather up a bunch of people from all the mentors, some HPC luminaries there, and me. We would have 3 or 4 of them on the interview panel, and each student team has to present to us, give us a presentation about what they did, who they are, what went right, what went wrong, how they dealt with it. And then the interviewers can fire off questions at them. Did you
And
try?
know their scores going into this? Like how close everyone else was behind them?
They do. I
Put some,
didn't. I
put some
didn't.
pressure on them, right? Make them
Yeah.
really prepare for that interview.
And I even had a not the regular backdrop here. I had a backdrop of this like council of elders, scary looking thing uh, that was fun. And then in one interview, I actually put on a green shirt and had the green screen and just sort of floated like a disembodied head. So anything to put more pressure on it. But this is close enough. I mean, 47 points that the Red Raiders have on Santa Cruz, that's significant. That's pretty comfortable as long as the Red Raiders show up and can talk a good game. They're gonna be fine. But Santa Cruz also is pretty comfortable above the Matadors. But from third place on down, that's close.
Tight race.
Any of those point differences could be made up. Sue, you want to see what happened?
I do. I'm sure the students really want to see what happened here. So let's go to the final results.
Here we go. And just a little bit more suspense with that. Okay, we're going to do fifth and fourth place next. Fifth place, University of New Mexico Team Roadrunner, 539.32 points. Yeah, we use 2 decimal places, 3 if we need them. And Bronco 1. I think this is the highest a Bronco team has ever placed in the competition. And solid fourth place. They had a great interview. Very good. Very well done on that. Sue, up next, third. Team Matador held them off and pulled in for third. And this is the trophy round. So they will get a trophy with their names on it for their computer science department trophy room, which I'm sure every computer science department has, right?
And Dan, this is a big one, right? Because if I remember from the earlier scores that I was going through, they were 9th place after the Linpack.
Yes. Yeah.
So
good call.
massive improvement there, Texas Tech Team Matador. Way to go.
That's the thing. And, that's a big rise from 9th up to third. Nice job. And they did it on a great crash course score. I think they were second in that. They also scored really well in the AWS and PSC challenges, which were towards the end. So really good, but they only beat Fayetteville, the Bronco 1 team, by 10 points.
10.40, Dan, if we're using two decimal places, but
10 point. Yes, you're
that's a
right.
close race.
That
That's
is a close out of 700 points. Yeah, that's close. So we have one question left. Who's second? Santa Cruz. Doing their usual Santa Cruz thing, coming up from behind, slowish start. And they were, I mean, they were fifth, right?
But then second and third and second and third, back and forth on the leaderboard there. That was
Yes. And what it shows, and what I've tried to tell teams in any of these competitions, whether it's this one or SC or whatever, you don't have to win every event. You do have to turn something in for every event, but you can win by being turning in these second and third performances, but being consistent and not having any big holes. And that's just what they did. And a really good team. So congratulations, Santa Cruz. You got a trophy on the way to you. Great job. First place, Texas Tech.
the champions, the Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders. And look at that, 682 points. That is a score of 97.55% of the maximum total of 700 points.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, Dan. Is that the highest score you've ever had?
Yeah. Yeah, it
It is.
has to be. It has to be. Yes.
They might
Just
deserve a
thinking
tie
back.
for this one. They might deserve some ties, team ties.
I don't know. I don't know. That's iffy because these ties are highly coveted. But they'll definitely get the big trophy. And I mean, this is history in a couple of different ways. And I think it's a third way now that you say that it's a record high number of points, but they're the first team to repeat as champion. They were champs last year. And also the first team to hold on to the lead every single module.
Wow.
Yeah. That is consistency. And I mentioned this before, but the coach of both the Red Raiders and the Matadors is a guy named Michael Beebe, who's a PhD student at Texas Tech. He was a participant on their first two teams back in 2022.
Wow.
And he's coached them for the last couple of years, and that's great. He might be retiring from coaching, but great leadership and a
Sounds like
great
they've got a
job.
couple of championship teams that could step up and fill those shoes, though. So
That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. And they also have a decently full trophy case too. But this brings me to what Santa Cruz, the Matadors, and the Red Raiders owe me. And we talked about this in one of the interviews. And I've interviewed all these teams, and they're all up online, and plus follow-ups are coming up online as well. What I want is for them to take those trophies out and show them around, like they do with the Stanley Cup. You ever seen that?
oh, I have.
I want that, and I will publicize that. That will be fun. I want those. I want those trophies going with them. Different campus hangouts, dinners, parties, everything. It's okay if they get beat up, but I want to see it.
I want to see a banana slug crawling across the top of the trophy. There's my challenge.
Yes, an authentic banana slug. That would be great. But that brings us to the end, which we've appropriately titled End Notes. We just have to thank everybody, the students who stepped up, their coaches, faculty advisors, the schools, the mentors, and the sponsors. got to have all of those working for this to be possible.
And let's be honest, this is a real taste of HPC for these students.
It
And
is.
it's something that I'm hiring people right now. I'd be looking for this type of experience. So, I hope that all of you out there listening are excited and you're challenging yourselves to come back next year and do even better, because this continues to be a fantastic competition, Dan, that you guys put on, and continues to be a great opportunity for real world HPC exposure.
Well, like I mentioned before, it's working. We get students going into HPC and wanting to. They see it, they actually do it, and then they find out they enjoy it and that there's so much range of what you can do. Want to do cybersecurity? Yeah, we use them. You want to do software development? Yeah, we use software too. Yeah. You want to test hardware? Yep. Even one kid out there who is a reverse engineering specialist. Yeah, we could use you. Come on in. And if you're an employer out there, if you know any employers out there, we got resumes and we've got students that are looking for entry-level full-time gigs or internships right now.
And
So
Dan, you've sent a couple our way already, and we appreciate that very much. So
yes. Now, yeah, I don't think you've closed the deal on them, but there are you should do it soon. That's all I got to say. You got to
our
do it
interview
soon.
process is not as long as your cluster competition. Let's put it that way.
Well, I hope it's more efficient. But thank everybody out there, everybody on the call, everybody who's read any of these articles or the endless videos, for watching and being a part of this. And please spread the word about this. We've got a website. Think about that. The internet. We have our own place on it. Has lots and lots of stuff. And by the way, for employers, watch those team interview videos, especially once you get the resume book. This will give you a feel for how these students present themselves, how they might fit into your organization, what they want to do. It's something you don't get until you do a face-to-face interview with somebody or a Zoom interview, right? You can get a better feel for the fit.
And Dan, huge
Yeah.
shout out to you, by the way, for organizing all of this year after year, and for letting Hewlett Packard Enterprise be not just a leading sponsor, but a mentor, provider, and just a partner through all this. We appreciate you very much.
Well, I really appreciate your support. You guys have kind of been the tent pole in this, from both a first mentor of the competition, giving them that gentle, to an extent, introduction to HPC, but also as a sponsor. We've counted on you for that, and just look forward to getting you more and more involved. And other sponsors, damn it, I know you're out there. I know you are, and I will track you down. You have to do this. It's fun, it's easy, and it will give you great exposure too. So, I think we're ending right on time. Patrick, thank you for being a part of this. It's been fun to have you in here, even though you barely got any words in edgewise.
I'm no Trish Damkroger, I'll tell you that much, but
who is?
Nobody is.
But who is? Yeah. But I really appreciate you and HPE, your help and support and all of that. I've got an idea I'm going to run past you to go even farther after we cut the public feed on this. Anyway, thank you all. Great job.
For the students, we'll see you next year. Be very proud of what you've done.
I might see you before next year because I'm going to want to keep in touch and see what you thought. So, and thank you, Doug. Thank you, Abdullah. That's the team captain of the Roadrunners.
Way to go.
We will be in touch.